Jake, you just wrapped up your first press conference with Nate Diaz, your first face-off with Nate Diaz. What was that experience like? Because kind of unorthodox when you're up there with Nate.
Yeah, I don't know what I was dealing with, but definitely an interesting man. It just pisses me off. Like, he's supposed to be this tough guy, gangster Stockton, all this they say about him. It's all scary and his whole crew and blah, 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 blah. But we get in person and he doesn't have to say. He's up there giving me compliments. I don't know. I just wanted more from him, and I want war. Like, I'm bloodthirsty, and so he was just being kind of flat, which pisses me off. I think he's underestimating me.
Do you think that, did you want him to kind of sell the fight more? Because, you guys are partners on this one.
No, for sure. Like, that's what I signed up for. That's why I like doing these events. I want to feel motivated leaving the press conference that this is going to be a crazy, exciting fight. And he kind of left me up there just like mumbling with marbles in his mouth, not really saying.
What was that monkey, that stuffed thing?
That's what's going on inside of his head, just all the time.
Is that why you brought it there with you? Is that like that was the line you were gonna say?
Yeah. It kind of fell flat, but I was like, I don't know.
Has like working with him and his team on this fight, because again, you guys are partners in this, has that been weird too, or has that gone pretty smooth?
It's gone pretty smooth. Yeah, it's gone pretty smooth. Mainly Zach from his side has been good to work with. I don't think Nate knows what's going on or that he's like actually a part of the event, but I don't know. Like, he's like, man, what the is this? And I'm like, yeah, like you're.
Yeah, he didn't know. I guess he didn't realize they were not, fans at the press conference.
Yeah.
You're coming off for your first loss against Tommy Fury, and a lot of people have always said in combat sports, you kind of find out who you are after the loss, right? How much has that played into your mindset now, and like, what has that been like?
Yeah, no, for sure. You don't really learn as much about yourself when you're winning all the time. And in the loss, I had to answer all of these questions, these deep, deep questions about why am I in this sport? Do I really love this? Am I meant to be here? Am I a good fighter? You start to doubt yourself for sure, and you have to face those thoughts and beat them and conquer them and battle them and submit them, which is what I did. But it made me reaffirm my beliefs that I'm meant to be here and I'm destined to do this. And it's made me a better, stronger man mentally, and I'm able to make changes and make corrections, luckily, and come back and still do massive fights and learn from my mistakes and get better. So I think this was what was meant to happen for sure.
You made some changes to your team. Shane Mosley is a guy that you trained with very early on, before I think you even fought, or at least before you fought pro. What is the shakeup in the team? Can you just explain that?
Yeah, look, wanted to reconsider everyone on the team and made some changes, went back to the drawing board, and basically there was certain mistakes that I was making that Shane and my head coach, Theo Chambers, identified and were on the same page about, and Shane was willing to come back into camp and do this full time, whereas I think before he was busy with a lot of other things going on in his life. So it made sense for him to come back. He was on the same page as Theo. Jay Leon was on the same page, and really I've gone back to some of the basic fundamentals that were skipped over, I guess, early on in my career, and now going back to fix those things so that I could be better in the future.
Your willingness to make changes in your camp, because a lot of people talk about Jake Paul as kind of like this fleeting thing in boxing, like it's not going to be just kind of like a flash in the pan, right? That you made these changes, does that show just how serious you are about continuing on this journey?
I think so, and I think you learn more about someone after a loss, and a lot of people probably at my level would have just like lost and went away, or came back and fought someone easy or hid away for a while. I'm doubling down. This is what I meant to be doing, and I'm destined to do in life. And so they see now, I think, that I'm dedicated even after a loss. I'm not just doing it for the money. I'm not just doing it to win. I'm not just doing it to knock people out. This is what I truly love and am passionate about.
You just said kind of what I was going to ask you next about. You had a lot of options coming off the Tommy Fury fight. Could have done the rematch. KSI has been, a guy that I think a lot of people want to see you fight at some point. He's a big name. Even a Floyd Mayweather, you had that little incident with him on the street in Miami. How did it end up becoming Nate Diaz? Out of all those options, how did it end up becoming Nate?
I think the fight just made the most sense, and the opportunity was there where he was a free agent. And so it made sense to just make that happen. And he's someone that I've always wanted to fight and that has always been on the list. And I see a roadmap where I knock out Nate and then go to Conor McGregor. To do what Conor couldn't do, knock out Nate, and then that'll be the biggest fight in combat sports that could possibly be made, is me versus Conor.
With him still under contract with the UFC, because, the reason why Nate is able to even do this fight is that he was a free agent. Is that a barrier? Do you see maybe working with them too?
No, we'd have to work with them for sure.
Okay.
And I think at the end of the day, it's a publicly traded company that has to produce revenue. And if the business opportunity is large enough, which I think it will be, then at some point Dana has to put his ego aside and say, "Hey, let's do this." And Conor's going to want to make a bunch of money, and he probably thinks it's going to be an easy fight.
The for this fight with Nate. It's at 185. It's 8 rounds. Those are probably two things that he wasn't a huge fan of initially, right? Especially 185. He's never fought that heavy before. Was that a tough negotiation?
No, he didn't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't really seem to care. So yeah, we were able to get the deal done there.
He had an incident in New Orleans a few weeks back, and I know that you tweeted about it, and I'm sure you've seen the video and everything. Were there any concerns after that the fight could be in jeopardy? Because if legal issues come into play.
Yeah, I wasn't too concerned. I felt like there was enough time until the fight to figure it all out, and everything's good now.
What did you think of that whole situation?
I think he's a bully. I think he picks on people in the streets and likes to beat up people who can't defend themselves. I don't like that. And he walks around, I guess being a tough guy until he meets someone who's actually down for the smoke, like today when he just didn't say. He's going around bullying all these people who he thinks he can pick on, but then he gets in front of me and my security team today and doesn't say. So I think he's a bully, and I'm going to bully him on August 5th.
Do you think he really thought it was your brother, Logan?
No. Definitely not.
Is he just he's just messing around?
Well, I don't. Then again,
in the moment, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows with that guy?
You said up there that you're focused on Nate Diaz, and of course you have to be right, because do or die, right? This is a big one, and I feel like after the loss to Tommy Fury, it wasn't what a lot of people thought it would be. Because I think a lot of people were waiting for you to lose, right? A lot of people were like, we just wait, Jake's going to lose, and that's it. And none of this has gone away after that fight. In fact, I think that you're every bit of a star now that you were then, but you don't want another loss. So this is a make or break fight.
Yeah, for me it is. I don't know if it actually is on the outside, but for me mentally, that's how I'm treating it. But definitely, man, I think people respect what it is that I'm doing and that I'm here to stay and that I continue to make big fights happen and entertaining fights. And that at the end of the day, that's what the sport needs. So that's what I'm providing. And that's why this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest pay-per-view events of the year.
Just two more for you, Jake. You're signed with PFL. You're also a partner in PFL. I know that you have a lot of stuff going on with this Nate Diaz fight, but I know you're probably not even training in MMA right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have any timetable on when that could happen?
Yeah, look, I want to get through this fight, beat Nate, and then I would be down to fight him in MMA in the PFL for sure. And that's something that he should seriously consider after I knock him out, because his value is going to go down unless we do an MMA fight and he can get revenge back on me. So we'll see when the MMA fight is on the horizon, but I'm focused on August 5th for now. Last
one, your brother is with WWE. they've got some interesting things going on. They're going to merge with the UFC. It's going to be one company under Endeavor, and also they have SummerSlam, one of their big shows of the year, on the same night as your fight against Nate Diaz. I'm not sure if your brother's going to be on it. They have not announced anything, but I don't want to ask you if they're concerned about that. But any thoughts on kind of going head to head, maybe with your brother that same night?
I don't think there's a concern just because it's two different sporting events. And I think while both events are going to be massive, I think the true fight fans actually like when there's multiple events in a night, and they'll be able to tune into both and have a really awesome Saturday night.
Do you see the UFC and WWE doing any kind of like crossover? You know, someone you know business and marketing very well. Like, can you see like a future in that in some ways?
I feel like that would be smart for them, for sure. I could definitely see that. And the WWE is very innovative, so definitely could see that happening in the future.
Do you think Logan could go fight over there?
Maybe.
He's got his
I don't
energy. He's
know.
got his prime hydration drink everywhere on UFC now.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Celsius. But but I think that definitely makes sense. And I don't know when my brother's gonna fight or not, but I want to see him fight again. So hopefully he gets back in the ring very, very soon.
Him and Nate were pretty close to fighting, right? At one point earlier this year.
There was definitely talks. I think Nate was exploring multiple different options on who he wanted to fight.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.